It's the run-up to the Cheltenham Festival and the Christmas racing is over. Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel. As I said there, the Christmas racing is over and we've got some racing to look forward to on the weekend. Kempton and Warwick. It's the classic chase day at Warwick, a personal favourite race of mine. 3 miles 5, usually on soft ground. A proper stare goes and wins those races. And we're going to be covering it in this video, as well as looking back on our favourite performances over the Christmas period, and maybe a performance we weren't overly sold on. We'll get into that in due course. I'm, of course, joined by the usual suspects, Harry and Lee. Harry, it's been a good weekend. We've had some fantastic support on the recent video we did, the Cheltenham Festival episode 1 with Johnny Deneen. Some fantastic views there, and it's great to see some nice feedback and likes as well.
No, it's superb, isn't it? I mean, we wouldn't have expected the level of support we'd have had, or where this brand could actually go. I mean, it could go so far. You never know. What we do is we put our all in. We study hard behind the scenes, and we try and make good content for everyone to see, to have a laugh at. Myself and you, Ash, we do tend to argue a little bit, but I think this is good. And then Lee comes in with his expert opinion and usually tips up the winner while me and Ash are arguing over a horse. So no, it's been brilliant. And listen, Johnny was absolutely superb the other day, wasn't he?
Yeah, Johnny was in great form, Lee. He was really sort of just he wasn't beating around the bush. He had his opinions. Yeah. He had his reactions to the races, and he wasn't afraid to say it. And he was brilliant to have on as our first guest for the ante-post series.
Oh, it was great. I think I'm that type of person, really. I just say it how it is. And it was a great laugh. And that's what we're all about, just having a good time. We're not taking it serious, but we're trying to put up some winners for everyone to have. So, no, we do appreciate the support, and it's been great.
100%, yeah. And we've got our latest video, our first video of 2023, when we're looking ahead to the weekend rather than looking ahead to the Cheltenham Festival, and we're going to be changing up slightly. As people know, there are plenty of horse racing podcasts around there who review every single race we have in the past. We're going to take a slightly different approach into 2023. We're going to be talking about just our personal favourite performances rather than talking about a horse that jumped well and bolted up. We're going to be talking about our 3 favourite performances from the weekend, but this week slightly different. 3 favourite performances from the Christmas period. So we've got a long range to look at, from Boxing Day all the way up to the date where we are now, the 10th of January. So we've got our 3rd favourite Christmas performance / eye catcher. I'll go over to Harry first. What took your eye in 3rd place?
Well, if we go over to the Boxing Day now, everybody I know, everybody on Twitter was looking to the Newcastle race for the 11:45. It was the first race of the absolute, was it 75 races we had that day? It was absolutely, it was absurd, wasn't it? And this horse was 4 to 6, favourite to go in. This could have kick-started everybody's accas, and duly obliged. Now, it is snake roll for the Lucinda Russell team. Won by 14 lengths on Boxing Day. I thought it was a really nice performance. Officially has a mark of 126. I'm not sure what the horse has gone up to. I'll have to double-check that. However, this horse's form lines have now proved to be really nice. Yeah, I've got Tamuras on his penultimate start now, where he came 3rd, was beaten, I think it was about 5.5 lengths. Sizing Potsy, as we all know, is the old boy of that field. He was in there that day. Now, Tamuras has obviously gone on and won the Tolworth. We don't know what that form's going to be. I'm predicting it's not going to be worth much. Now, I know he's been cut for some of the Cheltenham races, but for me personally, he'd be one to stick away from, especially looking towards the festival. However, it is good form lines, and you never know. Snake roll for Lucinda Russell. She certainly knows how to get one ready. And listen, he's only a 5-year-old, so could be
Where did it win
again from this
sorry?
How long have we been live? 4 minutes, and it's already Newcastle.
How are you, the lads?
No, nice performance there from the Lucinda Russell horse up at Newcastle. Lee, what maybe took your eye over the Christmas period as we start to move into this video?
Mine wasn't a winner, but it was an eye catcher, I thought, and it was Thunder Rock. It's for the McNeil family, but in a slightly different colours. It's a joint partnership there, but Thunder Rock, it was in the Dipper on New Year's Day at Cheltenham. The real whacker won. That horse stays favour, jumps for fun, and that was away and gone. I thought the Narok was going to be tailed off at one point. It was about 10 lengths behind coming to the bend, and then stayed on really well. Nearly nabbed Monmoral for second. I just thought it was a real eye catcher, and was coming at the race off a four-timer, sorry. But yeah, I did think it was a real eye catcher, so it's worth watching back. And I don't think that was its true running, but look, it was a Grade 2 race, and hopefully it'll come on again next time out.
I thought that Good Land for Barry Connell ran rather well over the Christmas period. I can't remember the exact date it ran on, but it ran in a 2.5 mile main hurdle over in Leopardstown. 28 grand purchase, 4 connections, same connections as Marine Nationale, so same colours, the yellow with the black sash there. And beat some really smart horses. I rate Tagman fairly highly in my ranks as a horse, and swept that aside there for Henry de Bromhead. Also has Search for Glory, Embassy Gardens, and Madman's Game in behind. So I really like this performance. Now he had an impressive turn of foot coming round the bend, just kicked on. That was the day where there was no hurdles at Leopardstown, as there was for much of the Christmas period. So I really liked performance of Good Land. Currently 20-1 for the Albert Bartlett, or 25-1 for the Ballymore. Fastest selector race now. Obviously, it's a big step up there, main hurdle, to talking about Grade 1 company. I'd say he's more of a Bartlett type. He took it up from the front. He pretty much made all, and he stretched clear when asked. So I'd say he gallops for fun. He'd love a fencing time now. Next season, if they went novice chasing him, his action is beautiful. So I'd say Good Land for me. I was really impressed by this. Harry, come back over to you. Another performance that took your eye over the Christmas period?
It was, and funnily enough, actually, it's a horse that me and you, well, we don't know quite well. However, we have seen him before. We went to Ollie Murphy's yard, and this horse was rumoured to be, well, not rumoured, whispered to be a proper horse. And to date, he's done absolutely nothing wrong. He's now 2 from 2 over hurdles, both at Market Raisin, and the last one was on Boxing Day. He absolutely skeeted clear. He was superb. He jumped well, as he did on his debut, and won by about, I think it was 16 lengths in the end. And Sean Bowen could hardly pull him up, I thought, at the end. He did it so easy, carrying the penalty. All you got to do is look at the way he travelled through the race and quickens clear. He's got the silence. He's got the truth. Yeah, he looks like he's classy, and for me, he's definitely going to be one going forward into those deeper races. Who knows? We don't know whether he's Grade 1. I hope he's a Grade 1 horse, but it certainly looks like he's talented.
No, he looked really talented the Christmas period there. Lee, what was another performance that took your eye over the Christmas period?
Balco Coastal for Nicky Henderson on Boxing Day at Kempton. Absolutely hosed up. First time out chasing, it was 5th of 6th at Newbury. Didn't really lift a leg, was 13-8 sent off. But that was over 2 mile. Stepped up to 2 mile 4. But I just think that there's plenty left in it. It's went up to 144, up £11. So I don't know. Look, I thought it might have been a plate type of horse for the festival, but look, there's the likes of Scottish in there, Gallo and stuff like that. So you never know, but it couldn't have done it more impressive. So Balco Coastal was a real eye catcher for me.
He's already got that Cheltenham form from the Ballymore Novices Hurdle on Trials Day, the Grade 2. So
yeah,
second to North Lodge there. So he's got some decent Cheltenham form already if he is going to go for something like the plate.
Yeah, look, I just think he's definitely got more juice in his mark, but £11 look is a good hike, but he literally done it handstands. You know, he was absolutely skating up that straight. So yeah, look, very impressive, I thought.
Yeah, definitely. Second in for me there, I'd say Dysart Dynamo. Really impressed by his beginner's chase there. He's probably, as I spoke about on the Cheltenham Festival ante-post video, he's probably my Arkle horse. I really liked how he jumped. You got the difference in the split between the Willie Mullins horse. You got El Fabiola, who has clearly got that quality. Obviously ran John Bon Close over hurdles last season, but he just didn't look like he jumped a fence too well on his first start there. And I still have my hesitations about him. Appreciate it, obviously a class animal, but he, in my mind, would look like a horse to be stepping up in trip to potentially the turners. And then you're left with this horse of Dysart Dynamo. I thought he jumped really well. I thought the turn of foot again around that bend at Leopardstown, the cam wrangle, it sees him sweeping around the bend. It's lovely. And I was really, really impressed by Dysart Dynamo now. I'm not alone in this. Isn't exactly a new piece of information, but Dysart Dynamo definitely wouldn't be going away from this now without having to mention him. So I was really impressed by
Well, we
Dysart
quickly
Dynamo's
mentioned it,
performance.
didn't we, Ash? We mentioned it on the channel, and I mentioned it the other day about how his timings from 2 out to the line actually compared to the Paddy's Royal Club chase the race after, and he was quicker than Captain Guinness from 2 out. He was hard held, which I thought was, compared to last year, because he tended sometimes to make a few jumping errors, he was foot perfect the whole way round. And for me, I don't know whether about you, Ash, but that is going to stand him in really good stead.
And he settled well.
Quickly run Arkle.
He settled well compared to when he was hurdling as well. So he didn't beat much, but he done it impressive, didn't he?
That was the impressive part for me. I thought like they're bringing him along slowly, obviously, because of his sort of live wire tendencies, we can say. Last season he looked like a little bit of a hot pot, but he thought he settled really well. Obviously the timings are great there, like kicking on well, hard held, quicker than Captain Guinness. Of course, it's 2 separate races. They're separately ran. I believe the Paddy Rules Club's actually quicker overall, so you're more likely going to have a slower time in the last couple of furlongs. But taking that into account, the fact that Dysart Dynamo wasn't even sort of nudged along there by Paul Townsend, I thought he was really impressive, and I do agree with you, Harry. If you can put a line for his Punchtown run, even his Supreme run was really impressive before he came down. Like, I thought he still had plenty of juice in the tank when he was going and before he fell 3 out. So yeah, Dysart Dynamo, I had to give him a mention there. We'll come back over to you, Harry. Sort of your most impressive, under the radar, eye-catching performance of the Christmas period.
I wouldn't say under the radar because everybody loves this horse and he is a real fan favourite. If you can't love this horse, you're in the wrong game, I'm afraid. It is Paisley Park. He is an absolute legend, isn't he? He's just an absolute legend. He gives his all every single time he steps onto the racetrack. And I said, and many other people did say, he wouldn't like the stiff Kempton track. I was firmly in the champ camp. I still don't believe he really enjoyed the stiff nature of that track. However, who can now tell me that he doesn't have the ability he did a few years ago? He loves the game, and as soon as Aidan Coleman sits down in the saddle, there's plenty more to come. There's plenty more of that movie to come yet. So you've only got past the middle bit, and now you've got the final bit. Paisley Park comes flying past. And I think it's going to stand him in really good stead for the Stayers Hurdle. I really do. Now, if you look at the Stayers Hurdle this year, Flooring Porter's been stuffed twice. Bob Wallinger's was rumoured to be going to the Stayers. He's not the horse he was. I think probably the danger is Home by the Lee. I think he's now really enhanced himself as a proper Stayers Hurdle credential horse. But for me, he was close. He got second last year. He was pipped on the line by Time Hill. If you look at his Cheltenham form, he's only bombed twice, and that was in Stayers the other year back when he clipped. I think he bled from the nose, I believe. I think he's got a massive chance in this year again. I know he's he's the old boy of the field, but there's that many question marks surrounding that Stayers Hurdle field, and he's going to come up the hill well. So I think
what price is this?
I backed him at 16s. I'm not too sure what price he is now, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed. Apologies for my dog there. He's going a little bit mad, But no, Paisley. He just wants Paisley Park to win the Stayers. So yeah, you can keep going, Ralph. Keep going.
I thought this was like strikingly impressive. Like, I can never back him. I never will probably back him again because he hits that flat spot. You never know how well he's going to recover. But I think it's comfortable to say here the flat spot he hit in the long walk is probably the biggest flat spot he's hit for a while. Like, obviously when
it
he
was early as well. It was early.
It was like mega early. Like when he won the Cleve, obviously he got wheeled around. He lost 6 lengths at the start, which was kind of like he got spooked by the rail and lost his lengths. He hit his flat spot coming down the hill, but he always seemed to be staying on. In this, he hit his flat spot so early. Like, he's going to hit it. And I said it at the time, and he's going to hit it. And I could not believe he just picked up that well and just went on. Like, it was mightily impressive for me. You could potentially say there was a little bit of a pace collapse with Not So Sleepy sort of going from the front and then just absolutely bombing out. But yeah, God,
but then again, the
really
two
nice.
in front, Goshen and Champ, they kept going. And I know Champ probably finished a little bit slower. He obviously did finish a little bit slower than the rest. But, I mean, Goshen is no mug of a hurdler. Now, if you look at his form, he's a proper horse over the smaller obstacles. Didn't work chasing. And for Paisley, at that age, to beat him the way he did, going away at the line, I thought was mega impressive. And he's definitely one to look forward to. Emma Lavelle must be absolutely
14-1 for the stayers still on
value,
365.
there we go. There we go.
He's grabbed every single point of that 16-1. Well done, Harry. Lee, what would be your number one Christmas performance?
Look, mine's definitely not obvious, but I just can't not mention Marie's Rock. I just thought she absolutely hosed up. I just thought it was a solid performance. She hurdled well. She actually had a grade 1 penalty to carry from last season. So to do that against the lads, you know, I was really impressed. You've got Dassel Drasher in there, who's obviously a solid yardstick, but I like to move it, who was the Greatwood winner. He was a long way beat. Nappers Hill, who beat Scoroil. He was well beat, and there was First Street in there as well, who had won the Jerry Fielding, I think it was, at Newbury of top weight. Behind State Man in the county. Look, that these are solid horses that she's beat, and she had that penalty as well. Once Nico got over the last one tap, and she kind of went away, and I just was really impressed. Look, a friend of the show, we'll call him now, Johnny Deneen. He put her up is one of his horses, ante-post, and the price kind of come in, and then obviously Honeysuckle, now they've said it's kind of champion hurdle or bust with her. She might be retired if it's not the champion hurdle. We didn't know whether Epperton was going to go today. I think Nicky's just had one of them
that's incredible
off days and hasn't put Epperton in. So look, there's still question marks about her, but I just think she's a solid horse. The price is kind of gone, but if you can get 11-4, look, I just think she's a solid bet, and it was a real solid performance at Cheltenham.
It's really like incredible. I'm just looking at the odds checker prices now of when she won. She was sort of 8-1, 9-1 best price coming into the race. She then immediately sort of went 5-1 best price with some firms. Yeah. And then everyone sort of went, oh, okay, that's a nice performance, 5-1. And then like gradually over the next couple of days, people are like going through the form. They're going, well, that can't win, that can't win, that can't win. Honeysuckle's gone, and she's now as short as like some place are 2-1 on her now.
Brandy loves still making dodgy films somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Like where the hell is she? So Brandy loves gone. Look, Honeysuckle is not likely to go, and then you've got Epperton, who's not even in the race thanks to Nicky. So look, the solid one is definitely Marie's Rock, who's a solid performer. And I did see she got a Stairs Hurdle entry. But
they won't go there. No chance.
Yes, no. The lad who runs the syndicate there, he says on Twitter earlier on that look, she just got that speculative entry just in case. But her target is the Mare's Hurdle, and then she'll probably go on to Punch Us Down again, and she'll have a solid chance there. But yeah, I just think she's the solid one. Love Envoy is obviously the danger, I would have said.
It's the general sort of thing.
Sorry, lads. Do you think that this is a little? I mean, I know Epperton's been left out by mistake, but she still can be. She can, but then if that's a mistake, and she was primed to go to the Mares, you wouldn't forget about that. You just wouldn't. And I just think that she's been left in the champion hurdle. I just think that she's
Nicky's eyes on go there. I think so.
Look, let's put the tinfoil hats away about these conspiracy theories of Epperton. Let's see how the season goes. I think one point I want to make about Marie's Rock is obviously I was in the press huddle talking to Nick afterwards, and he was going on about like, oh yeah, she's been brilliant. This race is always in mind, and I know what question you're already going to ask. And someone went, so does she go to the Stayers? And it was like instant from Nicky. It was like, she'll go Mares. Like, I don't think there's any chance. I think it's a point in general about horses around this time of the year. Like, you're running it fine now if you're going to be changing up a horse's route plan to Cheltenham. Like, if there's a horse that wants stepping up maybe from like 2.5 to 3 or like 2 to 2.5 or a different kind of a race, you'd be running it fine now for sort of having to set in stone plans so you know that they'll be primed for that race. I think Marie's Rock's an example. Where would you actually run her over 3 miles so that it's sort of like a litmus test for her to see how she would go 3 miles, to see if the Stayers route was a possibility. Like, I just don't think it is ever a possibility. Maybe you look at it next season, but like, it's probably too late. So yeah, it's just one of those things. And
I think with the likes of them entries, I don't think it's a bad thing to take the risk because of likes of you know, like Epperton being in the champion hurdle. What if Constitution Hill and Stateman got injured, stuff like that? It's worth having them in, but
100%.
Like, look, you've got your one target you're going to aim for. It's just it's just in case, isn't it? Really, that's all.
These connections have so much money that the entry fees, like, they're nothing for them. It's like when Galloping Deschamps got entered for the King George. He, like, absolutely got smashed in price. Then Willie Mullins comes out and says, "Lads, it's just an entry," and then he doesn't go. So, like, it's just one of those things. We've got Marie's Rock there. I'll finish it off with my favourite performance of the Christmas period. Really striking. Now, she took me. This performance was really good, and it's Lossiemouth for me. I was trying to look for a Triumph horse, sort of like going into the Christmas period, coming out of it as well, and then I just sort of kept circling back. I was like, that Lossiemouth performance is really good. I'm not putting her up. There's absolutely no chance I'm putting her up, but I just kept circling back. I was like, okay, I like this horse. Does it beat Lossiemouth? No. Okay, do I like this one? Yes. Does it beat Lossiemouth? No. I thought this was really, really smart from her. Now, like, I liked Nusret coming into the race, thought that had a massive chance and potential as Triumph Hurdle horse, and he still could be a potential Triumph Hurdle horse. Potentially, yeah. But like, God, though, Lossiemouth was really good now. So I'd be really on her side for sort of any race she goes to next. I'd be in no rush to oppose her. Let's put it that way. We move on to our final sort of section of the review, the not for me section. This is a performance that maybe was sort of they won, or they maybe ran a good performance. People liked it on Twitter, but it just wasn't for us. We've got a horse each, not obviously sort of dissing the horse or dissing the connections. It's just one horse that we maybe would be speculative about backing next time out or looking at next time out. I'll come to Harry first. Harry, performance you maybe weren't sort of overly sold on.
Well, it is a horse. I think I would say it's a Twitter horse. It's a Gary Moore horse, a little bit like Authorised Speed. Now, they've shown quite a bit in the 2 runs that they've had. It was on Boxing Day as well. It's a horse called Javega.
Oh.
It's kind of linking towards on Saturday because the horse is entered at Warwick, I believe. Now, I can't really see it. I think when stepped into the proper when the big boys are out there and there's classy animals there, I just can't see how this horse would win. I wasn't excited by it. Wasn't really too good in the jumping department, and we've seen that with Authorised Speed. Now, I thought he could get away with it, but he didn't, and was really he was found out, simple as. So for beating Rambo T, is that going to be enough to win? Is it Grade 2 on Saturday, I believe, at Warwick?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, there's some nice horses, and a 25-1 for the Ballymore Supreme. That's horrific. I mean, it's just even if the horse came out and won that race on Saturday, you should still be looking at 25s, 50s for the Ballymore Supreme. I just can't get my head around it. I can't get my head around it. It's just, I think the horse will get beat on Saturday, but that's another thing. So. Javega was one that I wasn't disappointed with. It was good that he came out and won, but I think he'll be exposed against when the big boys come out.
The perfect horse for the not for me section. It was a nice performance, but just going forward, we're not too sure. Obviously entered in the Leamington Novices Hurdle. One person who won't be happy you've made those comments is Sam Hart, next racing. He's a massive fan of the horse, so we'll see what he has to say if you watch the video.
Me and Sam have gone over a clip far too many times with Nina the Terrier, so we're all right to be against on this one.
To be against each other on this one. Lee, what was maybe a horse that you'd be wary about next time out?
Mine's more so a race, but I have a kind of eye catcher in it. It was the Coral Juvenile Hurdle at Chepstow. Comfort Zone won it, but look, the race often doesn't then go on to produce multiple Grade 1 winners because of the ground and stuff like that. I did think Dixon Cove stayed on well for Paul Nichols. Just failed, was outpaced, and stayed on like a train just to be beat by Comfort Zone, who won well enough, but just the race is sometimes iffy. So going forward, it's not one I'd be so strong on. But Dixon Cove, I would give it a shout next time out for. I've just got a couple more actually. Gentleman's Game, beating Iron Maximus, I thought was a solid run as well, and also Facile Mode of Tom Mullins beat the likes of King of Kingsfield, Cadwell Potter, I think, Lecky Watson, all them type of horses. people are saying he'd be getting plenty of offers for money there. Tom Mullins there, but yeah, look, I thought that was eye catcher. Come round the houses and stayed on well, but yeah, Dixon Cove I would take out of the Coral Juvenile Hurdle.
Yeah, no, definitely there. The horse I maybe wasn't sold on, or the race I wasn't sold on, and it's a splitting opinions. I've not exactly gone for one that is again under the radar. I've gone for sort of a camp that sort of is being publicised very publicly now on Twitter. I wasn't so sure about Tamuras's run in the Tolworth there. Like I watched the performance, and at the time, like I think the horse is really like a smart animal. I really do. I think going up in trip is potentially can be the key to this horse going forward. I think he could show himself in a different light going up in trip. He's now a Grade 1 winner, and you can't take that away from him at all. I just I wouldn't be sure now on the actual like sort of form of the race. Like the Evan Williams horse in second that beat Tamuras in a bumper now. So those two sort of like have shared the winning honours there in two separate races. I just wasn't sure. Like he's obviously got an engine because he didn't really jump the last two and he stayed on. But even at the finish, he looked like he was sort of looking around. He wasn't going on a true course. Yeah, he just wasn't really on a true course. He was sort of wandering about for me, and like he's won by 2 lengths there. Obviously the two big performers, Authorized Speed and Arctic Brezel didn't really perform there. So yeah, I'd be unsure about Tamuras going forward now. And then the quotes of like 10, 12 to 1 for the Supreme, I wouldn't be touching that with anyone's money personally. But we'll see how he goes for the rest of the season. I could have egg on my face by the time March rolls around. We'll move on to our sort of preview of the weekend. As we said, we've got Warwick and Kempton. Warwick hosts 2 Grade 2 events, and topping the first of these is what's on my screen now. The Hampton Novices Chase over 3 miles, complete unknown, topping the market for Paul Nicholls. Lorcan Williams takes the ride 7-4. Milena Crooner for Gordon Elliott, not to be mistaken by Kakuna, who's been ruled out for the season, in there at 9-4. Stage Star again for the champion trainer of Paul Nicholls, 11-4. City Chief, Nicky Henson 5s, and you've got to have Bigger the Rest. Harry, assessing this race in general, is there anything that stands out to you at this early stage, or is it a bit difficult to work out at the moment?
It is a little bit difficult. I mean, obviously, Gordon's sending one over. We don't know whether that horse is definitely going to come over, but I think if it doesn't, then you're looking at kind of the Nicholls pair. Obviously, Stage Star was impressive, I thought, the other day, but then I think when the testing really comes to the fore and the pace lifts, he proved it. Was it at Newbury where he just wasn't himself? He jumped like a tree the whole way around, and he just wasn't good enough. Simple as. And I think you need those fences down the back. They're a testing, especially for these novices. I mean, it's a tough ask. So complete unknown has been impressive. I thought the last run at Foss Last was good. Kept on really nicely. I thought that would stand the horse in good stead. So I think it's definitely one. Garly Delato, if she can get rid of those jumping errors, because she made quite a few at Kempton. It was disappointing because the money came for her, and usually when Dan's got his money down, it's usually well on point. So I think for me, it's you take out these. I don't think Stage Star will win it. Now that could well bite me.
Clip up for the weekend.
Yeah, I know. But the more I look at it, the favourite's got a massive chance. I think complete unknown if repeating that form from last time out.
You've thrown a dart and you've landed on the favourite, Harry. Really.
But I'm not going diving in. I'm not going diving in.
No, you're saying the favourite's sort of the most is the correct favourite at this early stage. So fair enough. Well done, Lee. Anything that's sort of taking your fancy, or is it sort of as I said, difficult contest?
I think the favourite complete unknown is probably a standout bet, to be honest. I don't know if Manila Crooner will come over, but obviously Gordon likes to send one to the Potem's Trail at this meeting, so he's getting another one on the boat there. But Stage Star, I don't think will go because only ran 12 days ago. I know it was an Egg and Spoon race too, and a race or something, but it was only 12 days back, so I don't think Stage Star will go. Lorcan Williams is jocked up on complete unknown, who will appreciate the step up and trip, loves the ground. Any soft in that'll be fine. Jumped well and stayed on well. City Chiefs down in there, but look, Longweir beat the last day in Gallia de la Tour. Her jumping went to pieces at Kempton, so I'd scrap her. She's on the bad list for me. A complete unknown is a good bet, I think.
Fair play. And obviously we've got Cider Burley, the legends, go for the Batem, so it'd be great to see him.
What age is he now? 42 or?
He's getting on now, but he can still win that Grade 1 at Aintree. Don't you worry, Lee. And that newcomers bumper as well at the end. I love that race. I'd be siding currently at this stage, and it's a difficult contest, I think, and I wasn't really sold on anything at the top of the market. If I was going to have a flyer, I'd probably go Marla Mission for John McConnell. His trainer who loves to pick up these sort of lower level graded races. We've seen it through Cheltenham throughout this whole season because we don't know what he's going to be like at the Cheltenham Festival. He hasn't had the best luck in recent seasons at the Cheltenham Festival with sort of limited runners, but he could have a few this season. Marla Mission, I thought, look, we can put a line completely through that Cheltenham run when 61 lengths behind Chemical Energy, but beat Complete Unknown at Perth in April over 3 miles. Then was third in a beginner's chase at Punchestown on New Year's Eve. I thought he stayed on really well there at the finish to run on into third. And yeah, he's a proper stayer now. You want a proper stayer to be winning this race. 3 under through 5, won it last year. So I'd be siding at this early stage with Marla Mission. 35 minutes later is the Leamington Novices Hurdle. Harry, a horse you've mentioned you liked at Christmas, is entered. Snake Roll, Lucinda Russell, and obviously a horse you weren't so sold on is in there as well. Gavega, what do you make of the Leamington Novices Hurdle?
Is he froze?
He is froze. Fantastic.
I'll say mine, right? Look,
Go on.
Ginny's Destiny in this race is just probably the obvious one, just because won over the track, 2 mile 5. Tom Lacey, I think, does well with these types. I know it's maybe second favourite or so, but I don't think there's a standout top-notcher in the race. So I think Ginny's Destiny with the kind of course and distance form, I think, is probably the obvious one in the race.
Yeah, definitely. I sort of land on that one as Harry's jawline goes into. He'll come back soon, I'm sure. I thought Ginny's Destiny at the top of the market is probably sort of like the favoured one of all of these runners here. Like, I really liked it as Harry's back now.
To be fair.
No, like it's like 10 to 3 now. Like it's 3 to 1 about the Paul Nicholls horse and Knowsley Road at the top of the market. And then you've got Ginny's Destiny. I thought he was really smart the last day. And has the second come out and won now? Mexico, I want to say. Come out and won at Southall next time out. And obviously beat Lookaway, who was the odds-on favourite that day over course and distance. So obviously he has to have a massive chance. I say one at a price, and you don't know whether he's going to come over, is Santanito for Gordon Elliott. Has already priced up for the Albert Bartlett. Obviously hasn't got an entry yet because the entries haven't been done, but priced up at 40 to 1 for the Albert Bartlett. So you'd be looking at potentially wanting a bit more of a trip in time. But I thought his win last time at Clamel was really nice. Beat some nice horses in there. Just looks to be a proper stay. And if you go through his form, sort of like back end form now, he was second to Hidden Valley Lake, who's won really nicely next time out to Henry de Bromhead. He was 4th to Marine National in a 2 mile maiden hurdle. So that form has to stack up very well. You then go back further and he was second to Seabank Bistro, the Willie Mullins horse, in a 2 mile free flat race. And then he was second to Embassy Gardens, another Willie Mullins horse, in a 2 mile 4 bumper race. And on debut, he was second to the Nice Guy. So like he got all these like smart horses he's been finishing second to. And what's the key for me is the bumper race he's been running in were those extended 2.5 mile bumpers rather than just the flat 2 mile bumpers. So he definitely wants a staying trip. Obviously steps up 2 furlongs now from his Clonmel main hurdle to Saturday, where he's over 2 mile 5. So he's getting that extra distance. He could be a 3 miler in time. And I'd say that probably 10 to 1 is very interesting, but obviously we don't know if he's coming over. Harry, you're back. Your jawline has gone off our screen. What do you like in the Leamington Novices Hurdle?
Well, hopefully you can see me. The Wi-Fi did actually cut out, so it's always great, isn't it? It's a good job we're not live, isn't it? So Knowsley Road's in there. I thought was impressive. I mean, Lorcan Williams is already up, which is a big thing for me. I think Lorcan's obviously had a really good year as of yet. Javega, a horse I did mention earlier on in the show, He's at 6-1 now. If you want your pennies laying, I'd probably do that.
There's another horse you mentioned as well, Harry.
There is. How good's this? Now, this is this coincidence,
amazing,
isn't it?
Amazing.
Snake Roll for Lucinda Russell. Now, it's been on the drift, open at about 4s, about 8-1 now. Was impressive, as I mentioned. I won't go back into detail, obviously, but Newcastle was absolutely destroyed that field. Went from the front that day. I think the horse is versatile where you can ride him. As I mentioned, he's only young as well, so there could be plenty more to come from him. One that I do think is overpriced in this is Joe Tizard's run. I don't know whether you've already mentioned this horse, Scarface. Now, I want to ask, the form probably isn't something to behold. It's not probably the best. It was a 3-runner race. Avaldi for Paul Nicholls actually fell at Kempton on Boxing Day. That's probably not the best form in the world, but I mean, the horse is 2 from 2, won about 16 lengths at Plumpton on his hurdling debut. So I think he's had a nice little break. He'll definitely stay. I think he's got a bigger chance than 25-1 does suggest.
Yeah, no, fair play. It's very interesting race, definitely. And there is a graded race over in Kempton to quickly cover the Silvaniaco Conti Chase. Just realised I hadn't even changed my banners on the screen there. Leamington Novices Chase there. Silvaniaco Conti Chase is the Grade 2 race over at Kempton. Pick Dorhey for Paul Nicholls. This is where Harry Cobden's going to be going on the weekend, so it's a big day.
There's only one horse in this race, Ash.
What's the horse?
God.
Cody, he's back.
Cut him off again. Cut him off.
Can your internet cut out, please? Just would be nice. But
at the wrong time.
I'm cutting you off now because you can come to your dribble about Cool Cody in a second. Harry Cobden's obviously coming to Kempton, so it's a big day for Lorcan Williams at Warwick, as we mentioned. Pick Dorhey, 11-10, topping the market. Paint the Dream, Connor Brace, Fergal O'Brien, 9-4. St Calvados for the Maxwell in there at 11-2. Paul Nicholls. This horse called Cool Cody's also entered. Very interesting runner, I'm sure, Harry. Angel's Breath and Condor Castle. Harry, Cool Cody. Cool Cody, is it by any chance?
I will give you a bet. Now, if you can get a match bet between Cool Cody and St Calvados, Cool Cody is the horse you want to be on. The horse has already battered him last time. David Maxwell had a nightmare. I mean, it was a nightmare, wasn't it? Really. And let's not cut around the bush here. He got the timing wrong, and Adam Wedge just swooped on by him, and fair enough. I could see Kempton being the exact same thing. You're probably likely to see St Calvados be prominent. Cool Cody can be prominent, can be held up, doesn't really matter. Now, Pick Dorhey is 11-10, and this horse is I would say class act, but Paint the Dream last time really impressed me. Absolutely dotted up, and listen, we know the horse loves Newbury. Yeah, he's one of those horses, isn't he? I mean, he's a little bit like Royal Pagaille, I'd say. He's probably a little bit off the top level. Now, I know I've said about the Gold Cup, but he's one for those big handicaps, and you know he's a graded horse in a handicap. But when he goes into graded races, he's just the proverbial. He doesn't run his race. Now, it could be the case again. Pickle, he likes it round Kempton, I think so. 11-10, price accordingly, but there's only one match bet in this, and if you can get Cool Cody versus St Calvados, there's only one horse in this race.
I see your match bet, and I believe
raise me.
No, I believe I've gone to the well again, and I'm giving Mr. Maxwell a second chance. I said I wouldn't do it. I said I wouldn't back him again, but I believe.
Just him.
Like I love him. First of all, I love him. I absolutely love him for the sport. He's just like he's just what you need. Like it doesn't matter if he gets it wrong time here and there. You just have to love him, and I do. It's just obviously it's the Maxwell factor for any horse you back. And I just can't believe he didn't win the last time. I really can't get it through my skull that he didn't win. And I went through the race. I thought the big danger was Paint a Dream. I see the point that he's a handicapper, but I was, like Harry said, seriously impressed by his run at Newbury. I thought like he could have the potential to step up in trip and go to the Denman Chase potentially, but they obviously decided to go here. And I thought, who's the class act in this field? It just is St Calvados. The 10-year-old now So I'm going to be going back to the well. 11-2. It's I'm not having a bet. I can tell you now, I haven't backed him. I probably won't be unless it comes the day and he's still that price. But St. Calvados, I've gone back to the well with him. Lee, what do you make of the Silvaniaco Conti chase?
Well, look, I'm a bit scared in case I get this clipped onto Twitter and if I start calling St. Calvados and he goes and holds up.
I know what he's going to say.
There's three things I don't trust: politicians, David Maxwell, and St. Calvados. I tell you what, there's no chance I'll be back. Look, he rides cowboy like shotgun. No, if I've got my conkers on, it's not going on him, I'm afraid. Same with Cool Cody going that way around. It was like a 2-runner race. It just stayed on best because St. Calvados bluffed it. So look, I'd scrap them too. Pictori's just a solid one. Won the Grade 2 Pendle here at Kempton. Won the Peterborough Chase the last day. Paul Nicholls on a roll. Had a 4-timer yesterday. This lad hopefully should go and win and then go out for his flu job. That's what's going to happen. But look, I wouldn't be trusting none of these rags in behind for me.
You'll keep it simple. I'm taking it to the max with David. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we'll go well there. We've got 2 handicaps to cover. It we're not going to be going into depth. It's more like if we have a fancy for the races. I'll go
first.
I have a couple of fancies. What race is it, Lee?
No, I just know yours is the same as mine. But look,
yeah, we'll go to it then. We'll go to the big handicap. The big handicap at Kempton is the Coral Lanzarote Handicap Hurdle. We've got 27 entered this early stage, so big numbers, and it's a maximum field of 20. Outlaw Peter's making his first run since his ex to win in November. Green Glory for Charles Burns. We could see some money coming for that horse. Already have 6-1, went to 13-2 into 11-2. So you know if the stable have got their money right if that horse starts to come in. West Balboa for Dan Scales and Captain Morgs. I'm going to make my case now. I went through this race. I spoke to Ben Pauling earlier just to talk about his runners for the weekend for Gloucestershire Live. And he said that Quinta de Mar has been trained to the minute for this race. He's been all the plans have been going for this race. And I can see why. He ran this race last year off the same mark, fell at the last when third and going well. Obviously just ran into Cobbler's Dream and Highway 102, who were both very well handicapped animals. Like Highway 102 is £11 better, and so is Cobbler's Dream. So Cobbler's Dream's £10 better there. So those were obviously very well handicapped horses, and Quinto de Mar was probably going to finish third that day. So he's sort of run into one there. I'd be happy to give him another shout here off the same mark. A 41 at Fontwell, really nicely now. And he performed to an RPR of 139, runs off 135, and Luca Morgan takes the ride, so 16-1. But probably my best bet of the weekend, this early stage, as the dog comes into Harry's room, is Harbour Lake. I did see him there, yeah, I did see him, big Ralphie boy. Harbour Lake, Alan King, Tom Cannon. I thought he's probably one of the most unexposed horses in this lineup. He wants it soft ground, which is probably likely to be at Kempton. He's been dropped £2 in 2 races as Ralph takes the screen for Harry. He's been dropped £2 in 2 races.
He's liking what you're saying. He's liking what you're saying.
He loves it. He's dropped £1 for his Greatwood Hurdle run over the wrong distance. He's dropped £1 for his run at Aintree, where he's staying on from the clouds to finish 4th behind Romeo Brown. His form, he was brought down behind LA Bell at Huntington in the Sydney Banks. He likes it on the soft ground. He likes it over this distance, and he's probably a lot better than his mark of 133. So I don't think we've seen the best of Harbour Lake yet, and that would be my main fancy. And Lee, I know you share those comments.
Yeah, exactly the same. I've backed this horse the last twice. To be honest, I had him as a saver in the Greatwood. Just that trip definitely wouldn't have suited him. Stayed on well the last day. Won off 130. This 133, I think, does underestimate him, and that step back up and trip will help. So look, I think it's a solid enough price. What price is that? 10s or so?
14s.
I haven't taken it yet, but I think I'll have a nibble because Tom Cannon is jocked up already. So yeah, I'll take a nibble at that. So I'm the same as you. So me, you and Ralph all like Harbour Lake.
Yeah, Harry 4 for Harbour Lake.
Yeah, why not? Why not? There's nothing here for.
You
There's
haven't
nothing
looked at the
for.
race, have
If
you?
the
You
dog
haven't
likes
looked at
them,
the
you
race.
like them.
I no. To be fair, there is one in this that I did like. Well, there's quite a few in here. Petite on air for the John Joe O'Neills. I banged on about this lad's case for a while now. I think off 141, he is still potentially well handicapped. He is only a 5-year-old. Could be more to come from him. Green Book's in there. That's an interesting one. If the ground comes up a little bit testing, I think that horse could be fighting it out. 50 ball for Gary Mom's going to go through the whole field here, aren't I?
I like 50 ball, by the way. I think that's the
Yeah,
one horse I missed there. I like that horse.
off 130 as well. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, only 3 lengths, only £3 higher than his last run at Ascot. It was back in March, but I think it's gone well fresh before, so I think it could be
He
a
has,
really
yeah,
nice,
yeah.
a big play. A Staghorn as well. I know we mentioned off camera about Staghorn. Now I think I've got a sneaky suspicion this horse has more to offer off 135. So for me, if I'm taking two at a big price here, it'd be Staghorn and 50 ball.
Yeah, no, fair, I really agree with your comments on 50 ball. Without being sort of mentioning the whole field now, like this looks like his distance. They tried him over 2 miles for a while. Second in the Betfair Hurdle in 2021 off a mark of 131. They then stepped up and tripped, just didn't really go for him. They then brought him down and he finished poor in the Betfair Hurdle most recent renewal. And then they stepped him back up and he was second to west of the bridge on soft ground and then won at Ascot. I thought he travelled really well in both of these races now. So 50 ball could be very interesting in the Lanzarote. We'll quickly go to the Classic Chase. If anyone has anything over for the big race at Warwick, the Classic Chase won by Claire Surf last time. And 300-5 tops the market, 13-2. I will do it for Sam Thomas, 8-1. Slipway for 8, Ben Pauling, Luca Morgan. That's also entered over at Kempton. If it gets too soft for him at Warwick, he will go to Kempton. Ben's told me that. Grumpy Charlie, Chris Honor, Brian Carver at 9s. Anything for the Classic Chase, Harry?
Yes. Now, there is one horse that, for those of you that are fans of this channel, knows I was so keen on him for the Welsh National and he didn't go for whatever reason. But this might be time to recoup those losses on the ante-post markets and get back what we lost. Lord Domain Nil for Richard Hobson, currently around the 10-1 mark now, does want soft ground. It's currently soft at the minute. Ash, I think you're probably closer to Warwick than I am.
But
I mean,
they're expecting rain a little bit, but it's not exactly like pouring down now.
Yeah, so I mean, if it comes up testing and Lord Domain Nil goes from the front, it could be an in-play, like a little in-play play. I tell you what, try saying that when you're drunk. In-play play. That's a good one, that, isn't it?
Move on.
10-year-old, still got plenty of ability, and listen, testing conditions will eke out his stamina, and he could be tough to catch. Commodore as well for Venetia Williams is one horse I do like. Now, Cheltenham probably wasn't the best effect I've seen him. He tried to make all and it just didn't work. Ralph, stop crying. This is an important race, this is Ralph. But no, Commodore and Lord Domain at this current stage, and I'll sort the dog out.
Sort Ralph out. Lee, anything for the Classic Chase currently?
Look, St. Calvados, Cool Cody, you will need the Lords to help you out. I promise you that, because they won't be winning. I can't say Lord Dominion, but it's no bet for me. Definitely not.
I also don't have anything at this early stage. That's nice and easy. The only thing I'll say about
How can you
Commodore
not have anything for this race? It's 13-2 the field. It's unbelievable.
I have 2 horses wrote down, and I'm not prepared. I'll mention the horses that are in my sheets here.
Lord Domain Nil and
No, Not a Chance won this race in 2021 off 139, runs off 130 on Saturday, and Move the Chains was stylish 2 starts ago in February. Looks like he stays forever. Hopefully, if Warwick gets some rain, that'll be superb for him. I could see the ground being sort of like soft, good to soft in places, if not good to soft ground, which will probably be all right for him. But yeah, I'd be siding with those 2 at this early stage. Not a Chance and Move the Chains. I believe, gentlemen, that's all we have time. That's all we have what to cover today. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for the support on the recent Cheltenham Festival video. If you did enjoy, please do like and subscribe. Follow all of us on Twitter. Our handles are on the screen there. And do please follow Only Fools of Horses on Twitter. I believe that's all. We don't have any competitions yet, do we, Lee?
Not this week. We're not doing one this week. We'll have one next week. Maybe it's an Egamine or something like that in time for Clarence House Chase. But not this week. But do follow Racing Tees. There's plenty of good stuff on there. And he helps us out with our weekly prizes. So maybe it's next week.
Definitely, yeah. No, thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, please do like and subscribe. Make sure to turn on that alarm bell to never miss a video. And we'll see you on Saturday, 10:30 a.m. for Saturday Live, and then back on Monday morning for the Cheltenham Festival video. James Stevens from the Racing Post will be joining us. Thank you very much, and have a good week.